Hello, welcome to another Gundam Operation 2 video. That is the Atlas Gundam, and I got a match here for you. Actually, two matches here for you. Both completely different matches, where this first match is going to be me playing a 600 suit at 650 on City Ruins. It's going to be an ace match as well. The second match is going to be me playing it in a regular City Ruins match at 600. And I do have a plot twist regarding these matches. I'll talk about it later. But yeah, the Atlas Gundam. Now, I'm not too big on Thunderbolt overall, but man, the Atlas Gundam is one fun as hell suit to play. I just gotta say that off the bat. It is a really fun suit. A lot of people worried about this suit being mid at first, but yeah, once gameplay came out, they knew instantly that this suit was going to do extremely well. Not only that, it also hard counters every flying suit in the game. I'm not sure about Flat Booster though, but I do know the other flight types do get affected. Now, before we get started into what the suit has, I'm going to go ahead and list off the stats here. And starting off, this is a 600 general. You have 17,500 health with 20 ballistic resistance and 20 beam resistance. You have 26 melee resistance, 30 range strength, 40 melee strength, 135 movement speed with 225 boost speed, 75 thruster gauge, and 78 turning speed. And for part slots, you have 14 close, 19 mid, and 11 long range slots. And yeah, starting off here, the 20 beam resistance I didn't think was okay for me to run around with just leaving that alone. So both of these builds, or both these matches, I'm using the same build where I buffed up my melee and my beam resistance, and I buffed up my range strength to be nearly equal to my melee strength, but then I went ahead and put a little bit more melee strength on my suit as well. So basically just defense and damage for my suit. Now I know you can do some other stuff, like obviously since the suit can hover, if you aren't aware, you know, if you're just listening to this and not watching it, the suit can fly, so you can obviously do some stuff like thruster gauge build and all that. So yeah, you can do some builds with this. And now we're on to the primary weapons. Starting off, you have the AG Railgun TB. It's really weird they put TB on this stuff. Like, honestly, the Atlas Gundam has TB on the end of its name as well. Like, is there an Atlas Gundam I'm not aware of? Like, is there some obscure manga out there with something called the Atlas Gundam? Like, that's kind of weird. But yeah, the AG Railgun TB, 2,600 damage with 3 rounds and 500 range. This is a very basic stunning weapon. You just, I say very basic, you know, just an instant stun weapon, or they're just basic on their own, right? But it does have a few gimmicks to it. It does have 500 range, which is pretty far for a instant stun weapon that a general can have as well. It also has the ability to penetrate as well. I'm pretty sure, I can't think of another ballistic weapon in this game that has penetration, so this might be the first. And even if it isn't the first, it just shows how rare that is, and this suit has that ability, right? And obviously it's a ballistic weapon, so if there's a low ballistic defense suit, yeah, you'll be doing a lot more damage to them, you know? It already has a pretty high 2,600 damage, and I'd feel very sorry for you if you're a Humbrabi, you know? Humbrabi's always my go-to low ballistic suit. That's a raid also, so you'd be probably getting over 3,000, maybe even 4,000 damage on that motherfucker. Who knows if you're doing like a range build. But yeah, poor Humbrabi. That's not the only thing the suit can do, the Atlas can do to the Humbrabi, right? So we'll get into that later. But yeah, pretty basic stunning weapon, has far range, and can penetrate, so nice. You also have your primary melee weapon, that is the AG Beam Saber TB, 2,300 damage, and the neutral swing is a pretty just a really simple upward diagonal slash, but the downswing is a thrusting vertical slash. Now, it's to me, it reminds me of the Heat Hawk downswing. It's not the same animation, but it's got the same kind of, you know, very narrow hitbox. What makes up for it is that you can thrust, and I think you can even steer it a little bit. So obviously you can use this to confirm from a stun from a distance away. You get an instant stun, well, hey, you can just boost forward and do a downswing. There you go. So yeah, pretty nice melee going on here just initially, right? And yeah, now we're on to the secondary weapons. Starting off, actually, the Medusa is the first thing here. I'm going to leave the Medusa for last. So we're going to move on to the next weapon here, which is the AG Beam Saber TB times 2, which is 2,600 damage. This is your second melee weapon, and yeah, the neutral swing is a overhead slash. Very useful when you're flying in the air because it can hit below you, I believe, if you're looking downwards, right? Very reminiscent of the Bjarlant neutral swing, the double the regular Beyond with the double beam sabers, neutral swing. Not the same animation though. And the downswing, if you guys are familiar with how crazy the S Gundam downswing is, I can keep saying reminiscent a lot, but it's very reminiscent of that, where you just fly forward. Combine that with the original beam saber, you're already boosting forward, right? You can just zip and zoom all over the place. And the thing is, this suit has melee priority 3, so it's gonna be hard for some suits to just stop you, right? Unless they're another raid or another three melee priority suit. So yeah, the melee is looking pretty good on this suit just from that alone. And by the way, since you do have a hover type kind of flight, you can melee while in the air. So you can drop down on somebody, like you can just fly above them and just drop on them with your melee, just going ham on them, which is pretty crazy. But yeah, next weapon is the AG Assault Rifle GNTB, which is 200 damage with 40 rounds and 250 range. This is a machine gun, and unfortunately, for a 4-star unit, it doesn't have that great of a stun accumulation. It does take 25 shots out of the 40 rounds to get a stun, which means if you're going to fire a full clip into somebody, you can only get 1 stun, which is very unfortunate, but you do trade that in for getting a pretty good high rate of fire and pretty good damage. What is it, 200 damage per shot? Which I imagine had to have something pretty close to that, because you are at 600, so pretty good. And it does come with the grenade launcher as a separate sub weapon. Excuse me. So yeah, it's fine. Just no stun accumulation, which is a little bit of a downside, but still works fine as a weapon. It has pretty good, 250 range, pretty decent, right? Next weapon here, as we mentioned, is the grenade launcher. It's called the AR Grenade Launcher TB, which is 1,000 damage, 3 rounds, and 300 range. I believe this is one of the farther grenade launchers that you can shoot. Yeah, instead of having to shoot a grenade and wait for a reload, you can shoot your grenade and then maybe attack with your melee or whatnot, and then come back to your grenade and shoot another round. And since it has 300 range, you can basically start off. And I've done this, and I've seen other people done this. Actually, I've seen other people done it, and I copied them because it looked really cool and looked very effective, where you'll approach with the railgun, since that has 500 range, shoot with the railgun, and then you get close enough to shoot with the grenade launcher to get a stun lock, because these are both instant stun weapons, and then you go in for the sliding melee. So yeah, very, very quick and concise setup here. Very dangerous. Very, very dangerous. So yeah, the grenade launcher is really useful for this suit in terms of continuing combos and all that good stuff. Yeah, that's it for the... Oh, I forgot the Medusa, of course. I did say I was going to save that for last. So the Velos Medusa, I'm just going to call it the Medusa for short. That is 200 damage with 1 round and 150 range. I do believe it shoots more than 1 projectile, because I have gotten more than 200 damage per shot. I think I've gotten over 1,000 a few times. But yeah, it's very short ranged, but it has a very unique property. It does an instant stun, and it does, if you hit all of the projectiles, it does have a high stun accumulation. But for the most part, people just kind of just shoot whatever they can shoot out and hit somebody with it, because what it does is, first of all, it will limit your mobility. So if you get hit with it, you'll be slower. But if you're a flying suit, if you're a hover type flying suit, or a forward flying type suit, as I mentioned before, that would be like most of your transformation suits. Actually, all of your transformation suits except for the Bondoc. And for some reason, there's a gym CBT at 600. You will immediately stop flying if you get hit by the Medusa. So, this suit with this weapon is a direct, hard counter to suits like the Bjarland Custom, the Bjarland Easel, and every other flying suit that's around 600. That is pretty crazy to think about. Imagine you're like since I mentioned I'm doing a 650 match here. Imagine you're at 650. You pick the Atlas Gundam. There's a Delta Kai. Everyone knows Delta Kai is notorious for doing the really annoying flying around stuff. So what if you just shot it, and now it stopped flying, and now it can't do those annoying ass combos, right? Yeah, exactly. Imagine you're Bjarland Custom at 600. You're about to go crazy, right? Nope. you're gonna get shot down to the sky. The thing is, it doesn't overheat your thruster gauge though. I want you guys to pay attention to this. It does not overheat your thruster gauge if you get hit by the Medusa. If you have flight control, you can still boost in the air. So this is a way to help you against the Atlas Gundam, where I've been fighting a lot of people where I hit them with the Medusa. They'll pretend like they've just been paralyzed and they won't do anything on the way down. I can follow up for free with my melee, with my range weapons. I felt kind of bad for them. I don't think they realize that flight control is a thing. Flight control lets you boost in the air. If you have force injectors, that's even better. Please use that when you get hit with the Medusa, so you can avoid follow-up from the Atlas Gundam and maybe anybody else that's taking advantage of you falling down out of the sky. So just keep that in mind when fighting the Atlas Gundam that's using their Medusa on you. Yeah, that's it for the Medusa. Now we're on to the skills. You have by the way, I don't know if this works on flat booster flying suits because that's tied to you boosting. If that does work, then that means it counters every flight type in the game. So again, very good weapon here. Not for the damage or the stun accumulation or whatnot, for that utility. Especially if you're flying, you can avoid getting stunned while screwing a flight type over. Alright, now we're on to the skills. You have Shock Absorber level 3, you have Quick Boost level 3, you have Evasion level 3, basically you have a double dodge roll, and then you have extra boost gauge to work with after that, a little bit more. You have Flight Control level 3, so again, like I said, if you're fighting another Atlas with Medusa, you get hit by that, you can still boost in the air, keep that in mind. I'm going to drill into your brain. You have Blast Stabilizer, so if a mobile suit explodes on top of you, like if you get done melee comboing them, you do not get heavy staggered, which is pretty nice with how kind of sort of big this suit is. I'll get into that in the pros and cons. You have Balancers, you have Melee Combo Controller, that means you have 2 melee swings on both of your melee weapons. You have Maneuver Armor, so you can avoid getting instant stunned as long as you're boosting. I believe Stun Accumulation Stun Accumulation will still work on you, so if somebody is shooting you with a weapon that will stun in 2 hits, you'll get stunned in 2 hits. You have Force Injectors level 3, you can boost back and forth with less thruster consumption on your thrusters. Your boost gauge, my bad. You have Left Arm Equipment Buffer level 3, that is 30% less, I believe 30% less damage on that shield that you have. So unfortunately, that is not actually a shield, that is a buffer, kind of like with the Gian, but at least it's a high buffer, right? 30% less damage. You do have Counter Program level 2, that means if you're at half health, you'll do a special counter animation, which you'll shove your railgun up their chest, into their chest, my bad, not up their chest, in through their chest, and then just pull the trigger, It's very basic, but very effective looking, very effective and cool looking, there we go. You'll do more damage, I believe, as well. You do also have a back add-on buffer level 4. That is 35% less damage on your backpack. Thank God. It's not like the Gem CBT where your entire plane has no buffers on it. And then finally, you have... Oh, not finally, my bad. You have Aquatic Mobile Shooting as well. Every amphibious suit has this weapon if they weren't already able to boost and fire the weapons, like the Zok and the Juagu don't have Aquatic Mobile Shooting, but all the other suits that have primary weapons, actually I don't think the Zogok can, but either way, you get what I'm talking about. A lot of the amphibious suits that have those primary weapons, you can use them while boosting as long as you're underwater. Now, this suit has the railgun, as we mentioned before. That is a instant stun, and you can fire it at 500 range. So you can boost to a spot to get to safety or to get ready with your team while poking at them from 500 range with a high damage instant stun weapon. And of course, just the fact that it's an instant stun, I believe the only other suit I can think of that can boost and use a instant stun underwater is the Ramza Gok, unless you count the Zizou charging up its beam rifle, and other suits that can do that. But yeah, that is pretty crazy. You can stun them and then start immediately initiating with melee combos. So yeah, pretty good suit skill for this suit in particular. And finally, you have the Sublay Controller. This is what allows you, it's basically your flight system, it's what allows you to do the hover type flight. I mentioned this plenty of times before, and I'm going to make a video on this soon, where there are three types of flight suits in this game. You have the flat booster, the forward flight types, and the hover flight types. This skill will allow you to have a hover type flight. And basically, you can have free reign on whatever you can do while you're flying. You're basically in space. You're playing like you're in space, but you're on the ground. However, your thruster gauge isn't not like in space, right? So you do have force injectors level 3 and all other good stuff that helps you in the air to have less thruster gauge when you're boosting or when you're boosting. You can also do you can use all your weapons while in this form. You can do your melee combos. You can do your range combos. While you're flying. However, something that's unique to only this suit so far, compared to the other hover type suits, if you guys don't know, that would include the Goof Test Flight type, the Goof Flight type, the Bjarlance, the Bondoc. This suit can actually activate this underwater or go into water and still have this flight mode activated. And this suit is an amphibious suit, by the way, if you guys aren't aware of that. So if you guys are familiar, if you have a water affinity, you'll move faster and you'll boost faster underwater. Now with this Sublay Controller, you boost even faster. You become a speed demon. I almost want to say you become one of the top 10 fastest suits in the game when you're using this while underwater. And keep in mind, you can still do your aquatic mobile shooting while doing this. You could run at somebody at over like 110 miles per hour, shoot them with a fucking railgun, and then just start going melee crazy on them. That's insane. Really insane. So yeah, this is a really, really great skill for this to have because, again, other hover suits can't hover underwater. If you pick a Bjarlance Custom, you cannot hover underwater. You cannot fly underwater. This suit can and will. And you can exit out of the water just fine and still be flying. And because you're underwater as well, I believe it takes less thruster consumption off of every movement you're doing, like boosting and all that. So yeah, pretty damn great skill. And that will lead us straight into the pros and cons for this suit. I'm going to go ahead and start off with the cons first. There's not a whole bunch, I believe. And starting off, or at least ones I can think of, starting off, you do have a sizable hitbox. Now, the Atlas itself isn't that big of a suit, but when you put in the sub legs in there, if you guys haven't noticed, they do stick out quite a bit over your head. There's a few parts and few moments where if you're hiding behind cover, you're not fully hiding behind cover. I've played Impact Site a few times against other Atlases, and yeah, they just jut out and you can shoot those. Now, granted, you take less damage because you take 35% less damage getting hit in the sub legs, but obviously there's moments where you probably are not looking to get stunned at a particular moment when you're on low health and there's an enemy in front of you and you get shot from somebody in the back or just something like that. So keep that in mind. If you're behind cover, make sure you're fully behind cover. You know, not behind some dinky little one-story building, right? So the next con for this suit is that the stun accumulation isn't very high on this suit. You only have the machine gun, and like I said, the machine gun has a very high or very low stun accumulation, 25 hits out of the 40. So if you get that first initial stun using the machine gun, you cannot get another stun via stun accumulation. You have to use your other instant stuns, right? But yeah, that'll lead right into the cons, because I can't think of another like very massive con, right? But now we're on to the pros. First pro, this suit underwater is a monster. Very, very gross. Very fast. You can fly underwater. I say fly, I guess you can say float technically underwater, but you know what I mean. You can fly underwater, which no other suit can do besides the forward flight type suits. But, you know, obviously you cannot control them nearly as well as a hover flight type suit, where you can't do your melee combos and all that good stuff. So this suit can do that. Another pro for this suit as well. Oh, it's also aquatic mobile shooting as well. You can boost and fire instant stun, high damaging, penetrating, ballistic round from far range, like 500 range, again, pretty good. Another pro for this suit is that the weapons in general are really good. You know, I just got done mentioning the railgun. The machine gun does have a lot of high damage, fast fire rate. You have the 2 melee weapons as well. You actually have 2 instant stuns. You know, the grenades and the railgun. So then I mentioned before, you can do a gross setup where you can railgun somebody, get close, and use the. Or actually, you don't have to get. So you can still use this at mid range, right? If you're at mid range, railgun, get close while firing a grenade launcher. Go into your double beam saber downswing, since that'll probably reach him at that point. Pretty gross setup, and it will work. Most of the time, well, latency will sometimes fuck me over, but yeah, it'll work most of the time. What else for this? For more pros, the subflight by itself is really good. Just the ability to fly is really good. That'll let you get height advantage. It'll let you set up in places faster. Like, let's say if you're on a bridge, it says a bridge above you, enemies are spawning in. Well, fuck. Okay, I'm gonna fly up to that bridge. There you go. You're safe, or well, safer. They won't follow up with melees immediately, right? Just having that ability to fly is really good. And like I said, combined with that railgun and all the other range weapons and the melee, you can fly over your teammates and engage the enemy from a different angle, far away angle, an angle from above. Really, really good. Let alone just the other skills you have with this. You got the double dodge roll, all that good stuff. You got some pretty nice skills. I think that might be it for now. And I gotta say, so the plot twist earlier, when I mentioned that I had 2 matches here for you, these are actually the first 2 matches I did today, which would be Thursday for me. Today would be Thursday. You guys are probably watching this at a later date, Friday, or maybe way off 30 years in the future, who knows. Yeah, these were my first 2 matches playing this suit, and they were this good. And I'm not like the best player in this game, so I damn well know that any other better player than me are going to do extremely well with this suit. This is a fan-fucking-tastic suit. Great ass suit. Which, yeah, that'll finish up everything nicely. So, yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, leave a like. Subscribe if you want. I'd really appreciate it. And, type up in the comment section how you feel about the Atlas Gundam. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Yeah, I really like it. Now, I only used the first 2. I have plenty more matches I can use in the future. I just wanted to showcase these 2 matches because, again, these were the first 2 matches, and I did really, really well. And, again, I know people that are way better than me are going to do extremely well with this suit. Extremely well. This suit is it could be very versatile in its approach. It has a lot of different weapons it can work with. You have 2 instant stuns, 2 melees. You at least have a constant damaging weapon with the machine gun. The ability to fly. You're really scary underwater. Yeah, this suit it's really great. This would probably be one of my highest recommendations for a suit that you guys can go roll for. If you guys have the tokens, I do recommend rolling for this, unless you're not a fan of flight suits or amphibious suits. But you know me, my name is Aqua here on YouTube. I gotta rep the boys, And honestly, taking a closer look at the Atlas Gundam, I never really cared about its design, but it's starting to grow on me now. The other Thunderbolt suits, I don't really care for still, but the Atlas, I'm starting to like a little bit, just the way it looks. In fact, I actually had the Atlas in Mobile Suit Gundam Online, and it was kind of fun there too. So, I guess all the Gundam game devs, they know how to make Jazz Boy really good. So, yeah, that's gonna be it, and I will see you guys later. Bye.